That's a big bluegill there, boy.
Sight some Timbuktu in the boat.
Oh, good.
After a while, why don't we catch a few of these? You want to do that?
Yeah. Yeah, he's got it. He's got it. He came
I
up
saw
real
the
slow and
bluegill
easy.
and a bass come up and ate it. I caught the bluegill.
And I said,
you
I
caught
have
the
a
bass.
bluegill behind mine, and it
You
wasn't.
caught the bass. Getting over that log, I got a bite.
I had a nice bite, too.
Right in the-
I got one.
You got one too?
Yes, sir. I got one on a worm.
You got one on worm.
Mine's
I
a
got
lot
one
bigger
on
than
top
yours.
water.
Bass Pro Shops presents Fishing with Roland Martin. Brought to you by Tracker Boats, fish the finest. Gary Yamamoto Custom Baits, designed by fishermen for fishermen. Timbuktu, Fisher's Choice, real bait ready when you are. And by Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here. Closed caption provided by Spro Lures. This segment of Fishing with Roland Martin is brought to you by All Day Turbo Power Energy Drink. Finally, healthy energy.
I got one. Yes, sir. Son, look at this.
What'd you catch that on?
Look what I have.
Oh, a big
Look what I
crappie.
have.
Look at the size
Giant
of that
crappie. Boy, I tell you what, folks.
A big
Today
old
we're going to
crappie.
have some fun.
Look at the size of that crappie.
I am
Holy
catching
cow.
some big fish. This isn't really what we're fishing for. This is just
giant.
one of the many things. In fact, my partner and I are going to catch some more crappie maybe a little bit later in the show. But we're in southern Oklahoma today on one of the watershed management lakes with my old fishing and hunting buddy, Jimmy Houston. Jimmy's the owner and operator of this boat. He's going to be running the trolling motor.
I got rolling in the back of the boat. That's hard to do.
And that's one of the biggest crappie I've ever seen. Jimmy, a little bit later in the show, can we catch some crappie?
We'll catch something to eat.
Well, folks, stay tuned because we're going to show you a little bit about how to catch bass on plastics, bass on topwater, and maybe some crappie and bluegill on some bait. So stay tuned. Oh, hey, that's a good deal.
What's the biggest crappie you've ever caught?
One of them.
That's one of the biggest I've been, isn't it?
It was a big crappie.
You caught on that worm, didn't you?
That was huge. Yeah. You know, but these are water management lakes in southern Oklahoma. It's amazing because I spent a lot of time fishing around Pauls Valley, Oklahoma.
Well, you lived in Oklahoma for 10,
Yeah,
11
I lived
years,
in
didn't
Oklahoma for 10 years. And around Pauls Valley, I caught the 3 biggest fish I ever caught in lakes like this. And we're only 25, 30 miles from
you?
Pauls
We're
Valley
close
right
to
now.
Pauls Valley.
Right.
We sure are. Speaking of Eufaula, Roland, I remember you winning a BASS tournament in Eufaula maybe 30 or 35 years ago.
I remember you came in second.
I didn't know if you would remember that
I
part
remember
or
that.
not.
I caught one of your fish. You don't know. You put out a brush pile. I went around the corner. I saw you and Chris carrying a great big sycamore tree out to the middle of this cove. And I said, Jimmy's putting out a brush pile. And I went back in the tournament and caught a bass on that spot.
My brush pile?
Your brush pile caught a
Turkey.
4-pounder off it.
I wonder why I couldn't catch a fish off of that. You'd already been there and caught it. You know, another thing, I don't know if you remember, that I was 14 pounds ahead of third place in that tournament.
That's a
14 pounds, but you were 12 pounds ahead of me. This is a 10 fish limit, 3 days.
Yeah.
So that's 30 bass, but 10 fish limit, 3 days. I think we were on 10. We might have been on 7 then, but I think we're still on 10. And you would have won that tournament by 26 pounds if it hadn't been for me, and you still won by 12.
That's a
So that's
lot.
pretty amazing, isn't it? I
That
mean,
was something.
that's what you call. You don't see anybody. You can't whip these guys like that anymore.
I know. They're too
And
close.
They're too good. Everybody's too good. Our tournaments are all real close. Everybody's just so good anymore. And there was a lot of great fishermen back then too, but uh-oh.
What was that?
Oh, I don't know. It might be a bluegill. I don't know what it is.
It's a bluegill.
It's a bluegill. We might have to get our Timbuktu out after a while. What do
Hey,
you
we
think?
got the deal for bluegill.
Oh, look at there. That's a big bluegill.
That's a
right
big
there, isn't it?
bluegill there,
Look at
boy.
the size of that rascal.
That's a good one. You got a lot of good
I've
bluegill?
got some Timbuktu in the boat.
Oh, good.
After a while, why don't we catch a few of these? You want to
Okay.
do that?
Yeah. Oh, I got one. One hit it. He's hitting again. He's got it. He's got it. He came
I
up
saw
real
the
slow and
bluegill
easy.
and a bass come up and ate it.
Well, you know what happened, and you had one on too. Look at that.
Look what I
you
did.
had the
though.
bluegill,
Look at that, what I caught. I caught the bluegill.
and I said
you
I
caught
have a
the bass.
bluegill behind mine, and
And
it
you
wasn't.
caught the bass. What is this?
We need to learn a little bit more about this bass fishing. We can't even tell the difference between a bluegill and a bass.
We're getting old, Roland. Mad cow. We got mad cow.
That's a big bluegill.
Get both lips at once. The fish's lips. Well, mine too.
They're not bad to eat.
Oh, they're great to eat. That was my mama's favorite fish right there.
Was it really?
Yeah, they're sweet tasting. She loved them.
Yeah.
You'd rather have that than a crappie. I personally would rather have a crappie.
Oh, I got one.
You got it?
Yes,
Boy, he was up in that shade, wasn't he? That's a
that.
pretty nice fish, Roland.
He hit
He
real
was
light
up
and
in
easy.
that shade.
He's way up in the shade.
Is that a bass or a gar? Looks like a gar. That's a bass.
It's like a garfish.
What'd you do? Catch it on spinnerbait or topwater? No,
A
he's
top
still
water.
using a topwater. I was thinking it sounded like a topwater strike.
Yeah, he was way back in the shade of that,
He
of
was
that push.
in that. I mean, he was right on the bank.
Oh,
You
yeah.
didn't move it up 6 inches,
He was
did you?
way in there. I don't know. Have
Right
to be careful.
on the bank in that little bitty
him.
patch of shade.
Isn't he pretty when he's all backlit like that?
Oh yeah.
Now, that's the beautiful thing about having barbless hooks. You can sure unhook them easy.
Without a doubt.
No
Without a doubt.
stress to that fish.
Plus the fact if you get that hook in your hand, it'll come right out of your hand.
Comes
pretty
out of your
easily,
hand a
too.
lot easier too, doesn't it?
I'm gonna throw up there and hold
You
your
know,
spot for
but
you.
that just goes to emphasize the fact that these aren't aggressive fish.
No.
With that water
No.
cold like it is, or colder, they're barely hitting it. You
I
got
got
a strike
a strike.
right
Did
then.
you see that strike?
Yeah, I saw
That
it.
was
No, he's got
That's
it.
a good one. It was,
Maybe there's another one.
he hit it and missed it, come back and got it
Yeah.
second time. I don't think that's the same fish. That was a bigger fish hit that first time.
I'm gonna
I'm
try.
positive it's a bigger fish. It's pretty nice.
See if I
little
can't get a double.
thing. Yeah. No, I don't think it's the same. I don't think
Think
it's
it's
the
the
same
same
fish. But hit it the first time.
Really?
That might have been. That's a pretty good little chunk.
Another. That must have been a bluegill or a crappie. One hit it. Huh. Look at that going. You got one?
I got a bite.
You got one. Jimmy's got
I
one.
get him over that log, I got a bite.
I had a nice
Yeah.
bite too.
Right in the
Look
very
at that.
tail end of that pocket.
Look at that thing.
Boy, they are liking that shade.
Yes, sir. I got one.
You got one too?
Yes, sir. I got one on a worm.
You got one on worm,
Mine's
I
a
got
lot
one
bigger
on
than
top
yours.
water.
Mine's a lot bigger than yours, son.
Oh, bull.
Oh, it is.
Ah, bull.
It's a great big one.
This fish is bigger than that fish.
It's a great big one.
Oh, this fish is bigger. I went ahead and throwed mine back, but he's bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, yours is bigger.
Okay.
No, yours is not
Boy,
bigger.
he got
Mine was
so-
bigger.
Hungry, he swallowed it. That's a bad deal.
Wow.
hope
I
it
used to
didn't-
have that problem too back when I first started.
Well, I think it's all right. Okay, there we go. He'll be all right.
Fishing with Roland Martin is brought to you by Color Selector. It's back, it's better, it's new. Nitro Boats presents this segment of Fishing with Roland Martin.
I'm coming through Texas style. Because of the brush and timber, I'm going to embed the hook really well into the worm and just bury the hook 100%. Okay.
You're fishing that really, really slowly, aren't you?
Yeah, and you know what? They're all hitting it on the fall, in the shade of the tree. I'm throwing specifically on the right-hand side. That's the shady side of the tree. I'm watching my line. I'm a line watcher. I have good polarized sunglasses on, and now I'm gonna check to see if one hit it. No, watch that line. Watch that line. Pull it up. Watch that line go down again. Pull it up like that. Just let it sink. Let it sink. Watch that line. Watch that line. Watch that line. He's got it. He got it. That's it. Be a line
That's
watcher.
bad, buddy.
Be a
That's
line
bad.
watcher. That's what you got to do. Be a line watcher.
Ooh, that's bad.
I had to pull
like
them
it.
3 or 4
I
times.
like it. I like it.
Had to pull them 3 or 4 times, but that worked out fine. Now see, also I set the hook a lot quicker. I'd been fooling
You
around.
did better there, didn't you?
Well, Jimmy said, be careful. When you get a strike, go slow. And the other couple of times I got a strike, I knew the cameraman was, because Jimmy talks all the time. Jimmy talks all the time, and the cameraman's talking to Jimmy. And I'm not saying much. I'm just getting
Yeah,
strikes.
right.
I'm getting strikes. So I'm waiting. I finally say, I got a strike. By the time he turns around, then the fish has swallowed it. But see, that time I knew the cameraman was there, and I just set the hook when I was supposed to set the hook. There we go.
I gotta admit, buddy, I liked it. I liked it a lot. Now do it again. I love it when a plan comes together like that. Was that cool or was that cool? I think I'll catch one. I think I'll catch one, Roland.
That's a
I
good one.
hope he didn't swallow that hook.
I had another strike. I got a beautiful horizontal log. And horizontal logs are better than vertical logs. And that's something I learned from a Jimmy Houston show. I'll swear. Jimmy Houston always says a horizontal log is far better than a vertical log. And I've remembered that all these years.
And you caught a lot of fish that way too.
There
I
he is,
got
right
it.
there. I told you, horizontal log, a horizontal log. Look at the log. He's right on that horizontal log, and that was a Jimmy Houston horizontal log.
There you
I
go.
heard
There's
him
the, other,
say-
there's the other one.
I heard him say many times, concentrate
My
on
golly,
the horizontal logs.
you're starting to hook them correctly too.
I'm starting to hook him correctly because I was ready. But that's the horizontal log that Jimmy's talking about.
That's
Find
it
them
right there.
where they have horizontal cover, and that's the perfect log. I'll go right back to that log. That's
I'm
perfect.
gonna hold your,
Horizontal
your
log.
spot right there around that log too. You're getting more bites than I'm getting. I'm getting bluegill bites only.
Wonder why they call it bluegill.
Because they got a bluegill.
Well, you know, we'll break out that Timbuktu in a little bit, Jimmy, and catch some of these big bluegill.
We're gonna catch some of these big bluegill.
I'm gonna sit down. This is so neat to let somebody that knows what they're doing run a trolling motor. Now, in your case, you're supposed to know what you're doing. I think
I'm
you know what
supposed
you're
to.
doing. You know what you're doing, for the most part. Sometimes he gets a little carried away and loses track of where he is and spins the boat around a little bit, but hey, that's all right.
I'm spinning it around on purpose. All right, Roland Dolan. I tell you what I got here. I got super worms and crickets. What do you want?
I don't
Call
know.
them crickets?
I'm just
Super
wondering.
worms.
Let me try super worms.
Super worms is
Yeah.
what I was going to use.
Oh. Well, I'll take the cricket. I'll take the
it's
cricket.
right here. You can try
Oh,
this.
those do the super worm? Okay, I've taken the top off of this one. Look, I got these super worms already. And all I do, folks, is take that super worm out, and I'm going to have drive a little jig head. That's all
put
I'm
it on
going
a
to do.
jig?
I'm going to try it.
got
Maybe
mine
a
just on a
regular
hook.
little hook would be better, but I'm just going to just come through there. And remember, this is actually at one time a real worm.
I got one already. I put a regular hook on. Golly, what is that? That might be a bass. Oh no, it's a big bluegill. It's a
Big
big
bluegill.
giant bluegill. Look at that. I got one.
How
see
deep
what
were
I
you?
did? I was probably about 8 foot deep, maybe 10.
Okay, that's what
I got Roland. I just put a regular hook on. I put a regular hook on, and I put a split shot above it. And that's all I did.
Okay, that's what
And
you
then
did.
just tight
Oh,
line
I got
it
one. I
straight
got one.
down.
I got one.
You
I got one. I
already?
got one. I got one. I got one. I got one. I got one. Ha ha! Crappie.
It didn't take long, did it?
I got a crappie.
You got a crappie with a mealworm or a bluegill?
No, I got a crappie.
Well, put it in a live well. Put it in a live well. We're gonna eat fish tonight.
We're gonna have the girls clean them. That's the thing.
That's right. The
Now,
girls
Chris
are trying. The
and
girls
my
are
wife
out
Judy
trying
are
to
in
catch.
the other boat, and they're catching dinner, and so they're gonna have to clean the fish.
They're catching dinner, cleaning dinner,
Okay,
and
now-
cooking dinner, all at the same time while Roland and I work.
That's right. Now, what?
Roland and I work
I'm gonna
making
just show the
television
audience
shows.
how easy this is. I went 8 feet, and watch this. Okay, now watch this. It's so cool. I just took this jig. I put the super worm on the jig, like that. Run it up the hook, just like that. Okay, now watch this. I'm gonna count it down about 8 feet. Okay, now 8 feet is about that far. Okay, I'm just let it sink to the bottom. Just let it
I
sink
got
all the way
one.
down.
I got
Oh,
one.
you got one?
I got
Watch
one.
this. I'm gonna get all the way down.
All we're doing is just fishing right in this
I'm
treetop.
just-
One treetop. Very first tree we came to.
Okay. Oh, you
Yeah,
got
I
to
got
get another
big
bluegill.
bluegill. I got another big bluegill. Look at the size of that bluegill. Look at the size of that bluegill.
Oh, that's a monster. Why don't we eat him?
Man,
Can they eat those?
nah, we'll have plenty of crappie to eat.
How
That
deep was that?
bluegill is 10 or 11 inches long. Look
That's
at
a
that.
huge bluegill.
He is 10 or 11 inches long.
Huge bluegill.
2 crickets, 2 fish.
I just missed one. I think he got my bait.
Look at him pull.
How big is he?
Wow, he's got to be a good one.
Is he right by the tree?
How
Is he
about
right
that
by the
tree?
tree?
I'll
Look
just
at
leave.
the
I
size-
left
look
it
at the
down there
size
for
of
quite a
that
while
thing.
though.
I'm
He
telling you
came
what,
dead.
That's a
Look
gigantic.
at the size of that bluegill.
That's really big.
Look at that.
That's really, really
That
big.
is huge.
Oh, I got him. I got him.
Got that one?
Yes, sir. Oh, he's around a bush. He's come loose. He came loose. He came loose. Look at that big old giant fish. These
you
are
got
these are
fish.
brim and a half.
There you go.
They just-
There you
they are
go.
so
Now you're-
beautiful.
Now you're cooking.
I am telling you what, folks.
Now you're cooking.
This segment of Fishing with Roland Martin is brought to you by Timbuktu, Fisher's Choice. Real bait ready when you are. Bass Pro Shops is a proud sponsor of Fishing with Roland Martin.
That hit up on top, didn't he?
Yeah.
He came and got you top water.
I mean, he's
To get
in
off,
some
or is he
stuff.
still on?
No, he's in the bush.
Down in the tree.